In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix your Grohe pressure balance valve. Hey everybody, it's Danny the plumber. I'm here in Venice, California, overlooking the canals at one of my clients' homes. And today I'm going to show you guys how to fix a Grohe shower valve. In this case, my Grohe would not shut off. The water just continued to run. But this is the same change out of a cartridge if the shower was dripping. Or a bathtub was dripping. This is the same way you fix it. Anyway, first of all, I removed that front cover with just a little tool, or you can use anything sharp to pry that off. Then I'm going to remove the handle next, which is simply unscrewing it from the center screw there. And we'll put that off to the side. Then I'm going to remove the two screws here and here that keep the flange cover on. And at this point, you don't need the water turned off, but after we remove this cover, I would get the water either to the whole house turned off, or if it has integral stops like mine do, which oh, I forgot to show that. Let me skip ahead in the video. Okay, here are the two shutoffs up close. And these are only quarter turn off, so the slot should be upwards like mine are right there. Other models are multiple turns, so you have to keep spinning it clockwise to turn it off. But these, like I said, are just quarter turn. All right, so next let's pull this little flange, this metal flange off. We're going to save that one as well because we're going to be replacing it with the same one there. And now we're down to this plastic part that that engages the handle with the shower valve cartridge that we're replacing. So I'm going to remove those two with two screws there and set that aside for later. And now we are almost to the valve, and this is the part that you positively need the water off at this point. If you don't have the water off and you start undoing these screws, you're going to have a lot of water and be in a lot of trouble. So you want to definitely make sure the water's off in the house and drain it off somewhere, and it's okay to even open it up, and I do like doing that at the shower here to make sure it's off, and you can go from there. Okay, so I won't bore you. I'm going to do a 4x speed up of unscrewing these four screws here so we can move on with it a little bit faster, but you guys get the point. Just undo those screws. Don't lose them down there like I almost did. It's a pain in the butt to retrieve those things. If you lose those four screws, you will need those in the future. Okay, so now you're pulling this metal brass cover off, and that holds the cartridge, the one that is going to be replaced here, in place. And sometimes they're hard, like now it's pretty hard to get off, so you can just tap it. I'm tapping it with a little screwdriver just to kind of free that thing out, and that is the thing that's giving us a problem. If it's dripping, that's the problem. If it won't shut off, that's the problem. Okay, so there's a little tab right here that you don't want to lose either, and a little O-ring right there, and those two things, that's just the tells the handle when it's in the fully off and the fully on position. So more on that later. Here's an O-ring that came with it. I believe that they will give a new O-ring when you buy the cartridge. All right, so let's get started on replacing this cartridge with the new one. Okay, so my cartridge came with a little bag of grease. Some don't, some do, but you can definitely use your own grease if it didn't come with a thing of grease like this. Since they gave it to me, I'll use their grease. And they want you just to grease up the cartridge a little bit here. There's some O-rings and stuff. They want you to apply a little grease on there because it's hard to slide into that valve, and you want to get it greased up real good. Otherwise, it could rip or mess that seal up. Okay, so there is a definite hot and cold side to this. And the cold side should always be on the right, and the hot side should always be on the left there. You want to line that up, and it's a definitive place where it kind of slides into once you have the hot and the cold in the correct side, on the correct sides. All right, so these are two little grooves that line up with two little notches in there as well. So the hot and cold in the correct positions lined up with those little bumps and grooves inside the valve itself. So they do give in this one an O-ring that goes next, and it sits in that little metal groove there. And I'm going to just put a little grease on it also, and it sits in here like that. Once that's nice and secure on there with the little grease, and the grease actually helps it kind of stick in there as well. You want to make sure that that next brass plate is lined up with the Grohe emblem in the, not upside down. And we can put those 4 screws back together also. And it's not a bad idea if you'd like to grease up those screws too, if you have a little extra grease in the bag or if you have your own. Just for the future, it makes it a little bit easier to remove that thing when you have to replace the cartridge in the future. Alright, I'm going to do a speed up again. You guys know how to put in screws. You guys don't need to be bored half to death watching that. Alright, so after those 4 screws are nice and secure, what I like to do is turn the water on at this point before the cover is on, before the rest of the trim is on. And that just is because I can see real clearly if I have a leak inside of the wall there. If you already put the cover on, there's no way to tell if you have a leak inside the wall, which could be a real bad thing after some time. It also helps me see that I have everything correct, meaning the hot is on the correct side, the left side, the cold is on the right side, and see if there's any other problems before I get too far into it. All right, so now I'm putting that stop in the correct place, and if you look where it is, it's just hitting that other metal brass groove on the top there, and that's where it needs to be for the handle to be aligned correctly. And there was a little O-ring that goes in with that also. You can see that when you pull it out. And this takes a little bit of, getting it kind of right in there because your hot may not be in the correct position or the cold may not be in the correct position if you don't get that thing in the right spot. There's the O-ring I'm going to slide on. And so what I mean by that, you may not get your water hot enough typically if that's not in the correct place. All right, moving on. We've got this plastic cover here. Like I said before, it engages the shower handle with the cartridge itself. And we want to make sure this is in the correct position as well, like everything else. And if you look in here, you can see there's some numbers down below. You want to make sure those numbers are facing upward. And another way you can tell is this little groove right here just sits on the top right there. It's the correct way it's supposed to be. All right, I've got my screw inside there still, and so I'm going to pop that out. And these are all of the old items. I didn't get anything new. The cartridge does not come with any of this stuff. You have to reuse all this other stuff. And most of the time, this is good stuff. There's nothing that goes wrong with this stuff. Okay, so I'm aligning it in there, and next I've got the little cover with the hole on the bottom. The purpose for that, if water gets inside, it can drain out to the bottom there. Slide that cover on, and then I've got the flange cover with the 2 screws that go on either side of it. We will screw that one in, and the other side as well. And by the way, it's a good idea sometimes if you've got a lot of calcium buildup on any of this stuff, your handles or the flange, to let it soak at this point before you get it all back together with some vinegar. You can get a little bowl or a bucket of vinegar and dilute it with some water and put it in there and let it soak overnight. It cleans it up really well, makes it look brand new. All right, next I've got the handle, and we're almost done with this little project here. I'm going to get this handle lined up into the correct groove there. Facing downward is the right way. And then we will follow it up with the screw that holds it in place here. Screw that guy in like so. Okay, once that is nice and snug, we are nearly finished. All we have to do is apply this little cap right here, and there's 2 little grooves that also slides into. And of course, there's only one way in which this fits. Push that together, and we are done. You guys can enjoy your shower now. Hey, if you guys like this, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.